I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Addict's Wife podcast, episode number 227, New Beginnings, and it's time to buy new underwear. If your husband is struggling with a pornography problem and you want some help with it and you are not finding the resources that you like, you are in the right place. My name is Jolene Wynn. I am a certified life coach. I am an active member of the LDS faith, and I am the wife of a former porn addict. And on this podcast, I am going to share with you the tools that you need in order to start your healing journey. This is where I'm going to show you how to dive deep into intentional living, how to rekindle connection with your spouse, how to manage all that emotional turmoil that you're feeling, how to break the addiction cycle that you have to your husband's addiction, and tell you all of the ways to do that and start healing. I am so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to get started. Let's go. Good morning, my ladies. Do you guys like the podcast title? I was talking to Rob about what I wanted to talk about on the podcast today, and I was like, I feel like it's a little boring. You know, I want to talk about all the things that I learned on my retreat this last week with my coach, and, but lessons I learned from the retreat is kind of boring, and changes kind of has a negative connotation, and so we were thinking about, I was like, okay, new beginnings, fresh start. And he was like, change your socks. And it made me start laughing. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, sometimes you have to change your socks. Anyway, but for me as a woman, I was like, oh, you know what it is? It's time to buy new underwear. Because as a mom, ladies, I don't know about you, but I always put myself last. And so sometimes it's like, I'm always the last one that I buy new things for, especially things like underwear. They're not very exciting things to buy. So I will much rather buy myself something unnecessary than necessary. And I will absolutely buy all the kids' things first. And so it's time to buy new underwear, ladies. And today I'm going to talk to you about why this is a good thing. Fresh starts, new beginnings, and all the changes that are coming. And all of this is from the lessons that I learned at the retreat. So that is the fun title. Now, first, before I dive into this, I want to remind you guys that this week, starting today, the day this is coming out, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I am teaching a How to Eliminate Triggers masterclass. If you struggle with getting triggered by your husband's behavior, or maybe things around your husband's behavior, maybe it's intimacy, maybe it's going to the beach, maybe it's attractive women, maybe it's going to the gym, or being alone, or him being alone, or all of the above, whatever it is that you struggle with or get triggered by, I want to invite you to come to this masterclass. I'm going to teach what triggers are, how to deal with them, what actually is getting triggered, and how to work through that so that you can actually eliminate triggers. Because the truth is that you're handling it just fine, but you don't actually have to live with them. You can eliminate them once and for all. Once you understand the process of what's going on and what's getting triggered and how to deal with that, then you can process that, reframe it, and I'm going to teach you how to do that this week. So I'll put the link in the show notes so that you guys can make sure that you go and sign up for that today. When you sign up for it, it will not only give you access to these calls live, but it will also give you access to all the call recordings for life. So come join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, and sign up so that you get access to all the replays and the content. I'd love to see you there. Second thing, please come to the retreat. I cannot wait to see all of you guys there. I have a few spots left, and I am so excited about it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more during this episode today. I got re-energized about the retreat after going on my retreat with my coach last week, and this is the chance for you to get in-person coaching, one-on-one attention from me, and to feel seen. I think that's the thing that keeps coming back to me. It's the one thing that women keep saying over and over. Ladies, being the wife of a porn addict is very isolating. It's very lonely. And I started doing in-person retreats because I wanted all of you to have the opportunity to walk into a room and feel seen and feel understood and not even have to say the specifics of what it is you're going through. They don't actually matter, the details, and they're irrelevant. What is relevant is that you walk into a room full of women who understand what you're going through. And it's all about growth and personal improvement and self-progression and not defining yourself by what has happened in your life. And I have several guests who are coming this year who don't have this struggle in their marriage, but are just craving that connection with other women. So if you want to grab a best friend and come with you, then do it. I can't wait. It's going to be October 17th to the 20th. I'll put the link in the show notes for that as well. There are a few spots left, but I keep this small and intimate on purpose because I don't want this to just be a conference. If I wanted to throw a conference, I'd throw a conference. I want to throw an intimate retreat. There are, I think, 13 spots this year, and I want to invite you, if this feels like something that's calling to you, then to say yes. And it's not too late, and all the details can be figured out, I promise, as soon as you decide that you're going for it. And I can't wait to see you there. So I'll put the link in the show notes so that you can save your spot today before they sell out, because it sells out every year. So I can't wait to see you there. All right, ladies, let's talk today about buying new underwear or fresh starts. All right. All of this is coming from things that I learned at my retreat this week. I have been working with a coach. Her name is Jamie Berman, and I have been working with her almost since I began coaching. I started working with her 6 months after I started my coaching practice and taking clients. And I have been working with her now for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. And this was the first time I got to meet her in person. We started off doing one-on-one and then small group and then in a mastermind. We've just continued. And she started hosting in-person retreats last year. She hosted one last summer and I couldn't go. And then she hosted one in January and I couldn't go. And so I said, all right, I am going to go. And so I got my tickets, in May, or my flights in May for it. And I asked my husband to come with me. And it was a beautiful experience that was completely out of my comfort zone. So I am going to talk to you guys about that today and all of the things that I learned at this retreat. And stay tuned all the way to the end, ladies, because there are going to be some changes that are coming up that are going to affect you in the best way. So can't wait to share those. Okay, so lesson number 1, I can do uncomfortable things. In person is not my favorite thing, and not because I don't like people. I really love my people, which is why I love my retreat, because I feel like you guys are my people. But I don't love meeting new people that I'm not familiar with, that I don't know. I don't like being in a room. I've never liked parties. I was never the kid that went to parties. I would avoid those at all costs. I'm very uncomfortable in a room full of people I don't know. But going to this, using my prefrontal cortex to make this decision instead of my primitive brain that said, I don't know anybody, I don't want to do this, I learned that I can do uncomfortable things. I can do things that I'm scared of, and I can feel scared all the way leading up to it the entire time until I walked in that room and I met everybody, and then I was totally fine. 100% calm, not nervous, not uncomfortable. In fact, it was extremely comfortable because I walked into a room of entrepreneurs, and this brings me to another point that I'll make in a minute. But it's important to learn that you can do uncomfortable things. And I think as adults, we know this, but as adults, we also are in charge. So we make our kids do uncomfortable things all the time. I'm like, hey, go talk to that person. Hey, go, do this thing that I don't want to do, right? I remember I was very, very shy growing up. And I remember my mom making me, if we ever went anywhere, making me order my own food. And it was like the worst experience of my life. It was extremely uncomfortable. And my mom made me do it. Well, as adults, we don't have anybody usually, unless we're in a job, but chances are we're very comfortable at our job. We don't usually have people making us do things that we don't want to do. We don't have people making us do things that are uncomfortable. So as adults, we're not really usually very uncomfortable. Have you guys ever thought about this? When was the last time you were really uncomfortable? It doesn't happen very often. We just avoid those because we get to make the decisions because we're in charge, right? But it was actually really important for me to put myself in an uncomfortable place and learn that I was okay. I can do uncomfortable things. That was the biggest lesson. That's what I want to offer for you. You can do uncomfortable things. And I know that you're probably thinking, I do uncomfortable things all the time. I change diapers. I get up before I want to get up. All of those things. That is not what I'm talking about, ladies. I'm talking about the discomfort that you put yourself in that allows you to grow. Not the discomfort that you put yourself in that makes you stay exactly where you are or just perpetuates your daily life. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the discomfort that you decide on purpose that you do in order to grow. You can do way more uncomfortable things than you think. Okay? The second thing that I learned from this is that it's okay to make an uncomfortable thing more comfortable. Okay? And here's what I mean by this. I was really uncomfortable going, and so I said, you know what I want? I want my husband to come with me. I don't want to do this by myself. And so I bought him a ticket, and he flew out with me and he came with me. Now, he didn't come to class with me. I was in class every morning from like 9 to 6 and he was not there, but he was with me on the flight and he was there when I was done, and it made me so much more comfortable, which is why even if you're coming to this retreat, to my retreat in October, bring a friend. Bring your best friend, bring your sister, bring your favorite blanket, whatever it is that makes you more comfortable. I actually had some girlfriends over last week before I went on my trip, and we were just chatting, and I just said, hey, come on over, let's like eat snacks and chill and chat. And my friend walked in and she brought a giant fluffy blanket. And I was like, that is fantastic. I'm so glad you brought that. She's like, well, I haven't scoped out your house yet for like how good your blankets are. So I just brought my own so that I could be comfortable. And I was like, I love this, right? So you guys have permission to make uncomfortable things more comfortable. What would make you more comfortable? Do that. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be something that you say, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable. How do I make it better? This is why we have best friends that we bring with us to try out our new group fitness classes, right? Is because it's uncomfortable and we want somebody there with us to make us feel more comfortable while we do it. If you have anxiety about going to the dentist, you make your spouse come with you and hold your hand the entire time. Whatever it is okay to make uncomfortable things a little more comfortable, as long as you still do them, okay? Lesson number 3, support is vital to progress, okay? Just like being the wife of a porn addict is kind of an isolating, lonely experience, so is being an entrepreneur. How many people do you know are running their own business? Okay, for me, I don't know a lot. My sister runs her own hairstyling. She's a hairdresser and she runs it, so she runs that. But even that is a little bit different. I don't know a lot of women in my close circle. Like I virtually have a lot of friends and entrepreneurs and support. But in my day-to-day interactions, I don't interact with a lot of other women who are the breadwinner of their house, who are running their own business. And so it can feel like the things that I face day-to-day, all of the obstacles or the opposition or even just the challenges of doing it and the successes and the fun part, but all of it going together is not something that I have a lot of people that I can talk to about it. And so it was really powerful to walk into that room and, again, like I was saying earlier, feel seen and feel understood. All of the women that were in this room, there were 15 of us in this room, every single one of them is running their own business. Not all of them are the breadwinners, but all of them are running their own business. They're all facing the same issues with strategy and marketing and client retention and all of the things, Facebook ads and copywriting and all of the things, launching, all of these things, that details that go into running a business that can feel overwhelming. And so you don't even need to explain what copywriting is before you guys start. You already have something in common. And that's exactly why I love hosting my retreat as well. Just like I talked about before, is you walk in and you don't have to talk about, hey, do you know what a trigger is? They know what a trigger is. You can talk about, oh my gosh, this is so hard for me. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I get it. Me too. And you have something in common. And it isn't even something you have to talk about all the time. It's just something that immediately you have a common ground. Does that make sense? And it's so much more powerful to have that support. It's very important. And in fact, what I said is that it's vital. Support is vital to your growth. Okay. And support is vital to your progress. And that is true. You cannot progress unless you have support. And most of the time we're just trying to support ourselves. Or maybe every week you listen to this podcast and it gives you just enough support to keep going for the other week, or you follow me on Instagram. But this is why it's so crucial to have someone with you. I actually got a message from a sweet follower on Instagram the other day, and she's been someone that's been messaging me. We have had a relationship with one another for years now. We've had just on Instagram and messaging back and forth. And she said the other day, she messaged me and she said, may I ask how to get support for yourself without sharing your husband's story? Not everyone knows about my husband's addiction, or at least not how bad it got. Not really something you share, but it's affecting me greatly. And it also makes me depressed knowing that the only person I can talk to about it is my counselor. And here's what I sent back. And I know that so many of you resonate with this. If you resonate with this, and I want you to listen to what I offered her. I said, this is what I messaged back. I said, the best support you can get is inside my program. I know it's lonely and isolating. That's why I have the group and the program set up the way that I do. I know it's affecting you, and I would love to help you. I have all the tools you need and the support you're craving to ensure your success. That this is the best solution I know of, and I created it because I was in the same place as you, and there isn't anything like it anywhere. I've checked, and that's what led me to create it. Ladies, support is vital to progress, because when you are trying to support yourself by yourself, it's very, very difficult, and it leads us to get stuck because we feel like we're not making any progress. We feel like we're in the same place that we were 4 years ago. We aren't aware of anyone else that's doing it. And as you guys know, human beings are bred to be social creatures. We want support. That's why we have families and friends and churches. It's why we go to gym group fitness classes. We like to have support, and it's actually the thing that leads us forward. So what I want to offer to you ladies is that you ask yourself, what support could I give myself that would make this easier? Okay? What support is available to me that I am not taking advantage of? That could be my program, that could be my retreat, that could be something else. Maybe there's a local group, a support group for you that you really resonate with, that you just haven't been attending. What kind of support am I not allowing myself to take? And that's going to be the thing that helps you progress more. Okay? The next lesson that I learned at this retreat is vulnerability fosters connection. When you put yourself in a room full of strangers, it's very vulnerable. It's why it's uncomfortable, ladies. Now, unless you are my friend Demery, who's my photographer who comes to the retreat, she loves strangers, and my mom. They're the most stranger-loving people that I've ever met. They love strangers. They don't feel like strangers. They don't think of them as strangers. They just love all people. I feel very uncomfortable because it's very vulnerable. It's very, very vulnerable to put yourself in a room where you don't know anybody. But that's what opens up and creates friendships, right? When you go into a place that you are vulnerable, vulnerability, ladies, if you remember, is the ability that you have to open yourself up to potential emotional harm, right? So think of it like a door. If you open up a door inside of yourself, you are now allowing the potential for negative emotion to come in. Maybe you feel uncomfortable, maybe you feel vulnerable. Those are negative emotions that now get to come in because you opened the door. But it also is what creates the opportunity for positive emotion to come in. And one of those positive emotions is connection. When we live with an emotionally closed door, we never allow ourselves to connect with other people or with ourselves. And it's a very isolating, lonely experience that just makes us miserable and depressed, right? Just like my friend messaged me and she said, I'm actually really depressed because I haven't been able to share anything. We actually crave the ability to share because we like to be vulnerable and have connections with other people. We don't like to feel isolated, okay? But this is what happens when we open up, we create friendships. And I am so excited to cultivate the friendships that I gained this last week. I actually fell in love with some of these women, genuinely love these women that I met. And I can't imagine not knowing them now. Isn't that crazy? And what I'm super excited about too is that I now have the opportunity at my in-person retreat to create that container or foster that ability to create an opportunity for you guys to create those same friendships. Some of the women, and I love that I do this even in my program. So in my program, when you join, you get access, you get to join all the calls, you get access to Slack, you can message other people, other women. Some of the women that have joined this container have become best friends. And they're so excited to see each other again at the retreat. They come every year, yes, to coach and to meet me and to hug me and to get the personal, attention that they want from me, but also to see their friends again. And that's why they love coming back. And that's what I want to offer for you is that some of the very best women that you could meet are here waiting for you in my program and at my retreat. And that connection comes from vulnerability. When you allow yourself to open that door, when you say, all right, I'm willing to take a step and be vulnerable here, that's what enables you to create the connections that you're seeking. It's so, so powerful. Okay, the next lesson that I learned, number 5, is it's crucial to receive in order to grow. Okay, and it sounds obvious, okay, but we often resist opening up and receiving because of fear or pride or limiting beliefs. Okay, so let me give some examples, right? Let's say if you have a fear of facing the stuff that you are struggling with internally, then you won't be open to receiving coaching in order to get past it, right? Or maybe it's the pride of I can do this myself and I don't need support and I don't need coaching or I don't need any of this, which most of you guys don't have because you're listening to this podcast. But maybe you think like, okay, this podcast is good enough. And maybe that's not true. What I want to offer is that you be open to receiving even more. Maybe this podcast has been amazing for you, but how much further could it take you if you opened up to receiving it, receiving more of it? Does this make sense? Receiving more help from friends. This is something that I definitely struggle with, right? Is I feel very competent as a mom. I'm like, I've got it. I'm good. And that has been all well and good and served me very well, except in moments when I needed help. It's very difficult for me to ask for help in my day-to-day life. When I have let my pride lower and I have increased my humility and allowed myself to receive help has been when it has made it so much more, so much easier for myself. And when it's easier, we actually are able to grow more, okay? I opened to receiving coaching during this retreat, not only from my coach, but also new ideas from my peers, from the other women that were at this retreat, other entrepreneurs. And it led me to new ideas and new ways and changes that I'm going to be making in my program and in my business that are actually going to be opening up to receive more women. But I'll tell you guys about that in just a minute, okay? All right, lesson number 6. Sometimes growth only comes from dropping what is. This was really something that hit me hard during this retreat. Sometimes growth only comes from dropping what is, okay? The patterns and thoughts and actions that have gotten us here are beautiful. They really are. But in order to get to the next level, we may need to drop some things. We may need to drop some thoughts, maybe drop some feelings, maybe drop some habits or patterns, not because they're bad or that they didn't work, but because they aren't the thing that's going to get us farther, right? I kind of call this my bless and release, right? So for example, if you have an old thought, like, of course I'm frustrated at my kids or my husband or my body, right? If you notice frustration, you've been listening to the podcast, you've learned to let go of all the judgment of like, I shouldn't be frustrated at my kids. And instead, you learn to accept that and not make it a problem. It's like, oh, of course I'm frustrated at my kids or my husband or my body or my job. Oh, of course. It's not a problem. Totally positive. Has worked really well. But maybe you start noticing, maybe I don't want to stay frustrated. Maybe I'm at the point where I can now change that. Right? I don't have to keep the patterns that are producing more frustration in my life. So maybe the new thought is, I'm done feeling that way. And it's fine. Frustration got me here. The thought that creates the frustration got me here, and here's totally fine, but I want something different for myself. Does this make sense? This bless and release. It's like, okay, all the thoughts and feelings and patterns that have gotten me here are fine and wonderful and totally neutral, and I can accept all of them, but maybe here isn't where I want to stay. And in order to do that, I need to bless and release. I need to bless everything that came, and I need to release it and be willing to let it go, to drop the things that are no longer going to take me to where I want to go. Does that make sense? Again, I'm going to talk about how that affects my business in just a minute. Okay. Lesson number 7. Put yourself in the room where it happens. I've talked about this before. I think I have a podcast episode called The Room Where It Happens. Go listen to it. It's so good. Ladies, I want to offer that you gift yourself the support that you need. A coach, a retreat, a group, whatever resonates with you to move you forward. Put yourself in the room where it happens. Sometimes that's a physical room. Sometimes that's a virtual room. But put yourself in the room where it happens. You do it every week on this podcast. You put yourself in this room where it happens, in this podcast room where it happens. Do it more often. Find ways to cultivate growth on purpose. It's not just going to happen to you. You listen to this every week on purpose. I want to offer that you continue to do that and take that to the next level. What's the next room where that happens? Maybe that's hiring a therapist. Maybe that's hiring a coach. Whatever it is for you that's next, do that thing. Because that's what's going to end up helping you create the life that you actually want. Okay, lesson number 8, expansion. This word was fun because this was my coach's word for the retreat. She opened up the retreat. She said, my word for this retreat is expansion. And this is what really hit me. And if you guys are ready, then I'm going to share with you right now all of the changes that I'm going to make in the program and on the podcast and how excited I am about it. Okay. And then I have one more lesson. Okay. So here's where my business is expanding. Here's where we're changing. You need to go buy new underwear. This is where I'm buying new underwear and having a fresh start and a new beginning. All of those lessons that I took from this week, I've decided to make some changes in my program. And the first one is that I'm opening it up to more women. And I'm really excited about this because as I've been coaching, I have many women that listen to the podcast or follow me on Instagram whose husbands don't struggle with pornography. And yet they resonate with everything that I'm saying, all the body image issues, the self-confidence. They don't know how to process their emotions. It's bleeding into how they interact with their husband. They don't feel confident because of the physical insecurities that they have had. They have the same fear that their husband will have an affair and how it might affect them if they do. And I wanted to open up my program to them. So here's what that means for you. It just keeps getting better. And here's what that means is that I'm opening up my program not only just for you, but also for any woman that's struggling with these same issues. And it's all the same content, all the same master classes, and the specialized coaching calls. But now we also get to take things a step further because here's what's awesome too is I have so many clients in my program that come and they work with me, and after 6 months or a year, they feel like they have mastered it, they are good, and they're ready to take things to the next level. They are now ready. They have the emotional capacity to start their business or work on their business, or they want to be more intentional with their parenting because now they have all of this emotional space opened up and all of these tools, and they want to learn how you can use them when parenting or in their other relationships in their life or in losing weight and in managing their money and budgeting. And I want to open up this program to create more of those classes, more of that content, so that not only do you get how to work through your husband's pornography problem and how to break free from it, but then how to cultivate a life that's better than you ever thought possible. And how to take all of these tools and apply them to every area of your life, not just with pornography. So as I do that, I'm going to be changing the name of the podcast for many reasons. I'm going to go into them. But I think the name of the podcast is going to be, you guys ready? Unstuck and Unbreakable. It's going to be, and then there's going to be a little tagline that says life coaching for Christian women. And I'm really excited about this because, again, so many reasons. One is it opens it up to more women who may not necessarily identify with the porn addict's wife. But also, I know that there are so many of you who I've gotten so many messages over the years of being nervous that it's called the porn addict's wife. They don't want their husband to find it. They get nervous Googling it. They get nervous that their kid might find it on their phone, that they've listened to it, and then they'll find out that their dad has a pornography problem. So even just for privacy reasons and for that to be easier for you guys, I'm changing the name of the podcast. It will still be very searchable, so don't worry for those of you who found it that way. If you type in pornography addiction spouse, mine will still come up. But I'm changing the name of it so that it offers more privacy for everybody, but also is a little bit of a Trojan horse. Okay. So it gets all of those women who who have this struggle in their marriage, but aren't seeking direct help for it. It's kind of a sneaky way in, okay, to allow them to start listening for personal help and progression and self-development, and then say, oh my gosh, I have this struggle too. Because there are so many women out there who are still struggling with their husband's pornography problem, and yet I'm not being able to reach them because of so many meta algorithm things. And this is just another way that I can reach more women. And it also makes it more shareable, which again, I have so many of you that wish you could share. You message me all the time that you wish you could share this with someone. There might be a specific episode that's not even about pornography, like about sexuality and confidence and body image and all these things that most women struggle with, and you want to share it with your best friend, but you also don't want to just tell them that, hey, I also have this problem in my marriage. This is going to enable you to do that. So we're changing the podcast name to Unstuck and Unbreakable. It hasn't changed yet. You guys will see it when it does in the next couple of weeks. It'll have a new image, but my face will still be on there, so you'll know it's me, and you'll be able to see that this will be the new name of the podcast. So it makes it more shareable, and it makes it able so that I can reach even more women who struggle with this. And then the last change that I am making is I'm going to change my lifetime access membership to an annual membership. And here's why. And again, I'm not doing this till January. So if you want the lifetime access, join before January and you will get the lifetime access. But here's why I want to offer this is I've noticed over the years as I have coached, most women don't need lifetime access. They just don't. When I started coaching, I did 6 months. And most of my clients did 6 months, some did another 6 months, and that was it. Some of my clients just love me and they want more coaching and they want to take all of this to the next level, and so they have continued. Most women don't need more than 12 months to work on this and actually see all the results they're looking for. And what I have found is that I have a few women that get a little bit stuck. And by stuck, I mean lazy. Okay? And I say that with all the love and compassion. But when you want to make concentrated growth, it requires concentrated effort. And so I want to condense the timeline in order to foster that concentrated effort so that you can see and imagine what could happen in just 1 year if you went all in. And that's what I want to offer for you, is that you decide and you commit to going all in. And it's not like you can't re-up, because you can. After the annual membership, if you want to do it again for the next year and you say, I have conquered my body image issues, next year I want to focus on managing my money and learning how to budget without feeling guilty and picking a fight with my husband and arguing. I want to learn how to love my mom again, right? If that's what you want to do, then you sign up again, and that's what we focus on for the next year. But as I have focused and concentrated on my own business, and I do it 6 months at a time, I have found that my growth is much more exponential than when I have an unlimited time frame. And that's what I want to offer for you. I want to create a concentrated result container. And that's what I want to do for you. Now, if you want the lifetime access, don't worry. We aren't changing this till January 1st. So get in now, because this is where you're going to get grandfathered in and have lifetime access. So if you join anytime between now and January 1st, you will get grandfathered in, you will have lifetime access, but starting January 1st, then it will switch to an annual membership, okay? And again, the concentrated timeline creates concentrated effort for concentrated growth. The thing about lifetime access, I love that I created it. It has been beautiful, but it's not even necessary. Most of my clients get all of the results they're looking for within the first few months. And that's what I want to offer for you, is you say, all right, what could I do in a year? What could my life look like 1 year from now if I committed and went all in? Not just on overcoming my husband's pornography problem, but on creating the life of my dreams. Where do I not love my life? Do I not? And most of us, here's the thing, is most of us would say that it's like, oh, well, I'm not unhappy. It's not like I hate my life. No, of course you don't hate your life. But you still wish you looked a little bit different. And you still cringe when you look in the mirror and you catch yourself after you've stepped out of the shower and you don't have anything on. And you still struggle with insecurities and doubts when your husband goes to, initiate intimacy. And you still second guess yourself in raising your kids and all of the things that they're going through and knowing what's best in how to raise them and all of these things. And that's what I want to offer for you, is that not only do we get unstuck from wherever it is that you are, but you become unbreakable. You develop the skills that you need in order to confidently face any situation in your life. And you have all the help that you need and the tools that you need and the support that you need in order to do so. That's what this is about, because you aren't just the porn addict's wife. You are so much more than that. And I want to cultivate and create a program and a podcast that's for all of you, for every piece of you, not just this one piece. And that brings me to my final lesson that I learned during this retreat, which is change is scary. When I realized the changes that I wanted to make, and it was through coaching, and she was asking me really great questions of what it is that I wanted to do next and how I wanted it to look. And I've been coming at this for like the last year. I have been feeling called to open this up, to expand, to receive more. When I fully stepped into that this weekend, I just started to cry, and I cringed, and I wish I had it on video. I would show you. I just pulled my arms in, and my hands went into fists, and they went all tight, and I just sunk back in my chair and almost curled up in a ball. And I said, that is so scary to do this. When I recognized what it is that I really want to do, I said, this is so scary because it's unknown, it's unfamiliar. And I want to offer ladies that any change that you make is going to feel that way. But anything different than what you have now requires change. Put yourself in a room of women pursuing growth and self-progression, and the fear melts into excitement. That's one thing I learned from my coach once. She said, nervousness is just excitement without the breathing. It feels very similar in your body physically. So all you got to do is breathe through the nervousness and it becomes excitement. And what that really means is accepting it. It means, yeah, this is scary. Yeah, I'm nervous. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited to go after it. It's kind of what happened to me every time I decided to have another baby. I didn't decide to have another baby because the babies that I had weren't good enough or because they weren't getting it, but it was from a place of everything I have is beautiful and wonderful, but I have a desire for more from a really genuine, loving, amazing place. And was it super scary? Yes. Was I always ready? No. Okay. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, no. But it was exactly what I wanted. And I knew that making that decision was going to be the thing that got me to the life that I wanted. The life that I wanted was lots of kids, really close together, which was crazy. And making that decision was scary. And I didn't always know how it was going to work out. But it was always the best decision. And I just breathed through it. And I had the support from my husband to do it. And we did it together. And that's what made that fear turn into excitement. When you, again, put yourself in a room full of women who are pursuing growth and self-progression just like you, all that fear melts away. And then it's just excitement because they believe in you. They see you more clearly than you see yourself. And so do I. And that's what I want to offer for you. If you are ready for the next version of you to be more than the porn addict's wife, then come join me. Come join me in my program. Come join me at the in-person retreat, and let's get you to the next version of who you want to be. It's time to be unstuck and to become unbreakable. I love you ladies so much. I'll see you guys next week on a brand new episode. So take care. All right, ladies, if you enjoyed this podcast, then I want to invite you to come join my coaching program. This is where we take everything on the podcast and we actually get to apply it in order to transform your life. And I know that that is a big promise, but it's 100% true. On the podcast, it's like learning how to ride a bike. It's like reading a book, an instruction manual via audio on how to ride a bike. And my coaching program is where you actually ride the bike. And that is what creates the transformation. This is what actually enables you to go from point A to point B, to actually create the transformation that you are seeking. If you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like you are loving everything, but you just can't see the end from where you are now, then I want to help you. Come work with me one-on-one. I have a lifetime access program, which means it doesn't expire. You come work with me. I will help you every step of the way and work with you personally to make sure that you get where you want to go. I can't wait to see you there. Head to my website today, joleneWynn.com, and sign up.